Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wellthy. My name is Derek Spahn. I'm here with my co-host.
Hey, I'm Hannah Spahn.
Hi.
Hi.
So if you are just tuning in to Wellthy for the first time, guys, what we are all about is that we are a podcast where two professionals are just looking to educate people. We see problems, common problems, and misconceptions every day in our jobs and in our businesses. And we just want to take the solutions that we provide to our customers and clients and share it with everybody, because little simple things can go a long way, and we want to help as many people as we can.
Awesome. So what are those industries and those businesses that you were talking about?
So I am in the financial industry. I am a licensed stockbroker. What about you?
I am a multi-certified fitness instructor, personal trainer, business owner, all that. I am the director or senior instructor at Rebel House for their yoga program. So shout out to Rebel House.
You do everything.
I do everything.
That's cool. So yeah, if you're wondering why are we qualified to talk to you about stuff, that's it, guys. We do it every single day. So we think we know a thing or two. And I think the biggest thing is we're in the industry for a reason. It's because we like to help people. We like to see them succeed, and we get to do more of that through a podcast.
And at the same time, we're just real people. While we love our industries, and because we work from home, in addition to our actual jobs, we live and breathe and eat our work, but at the same time, we're not overly obsessed at the same time either. So we're very real for how extreme we are.
Yeah, I would agree.
Over things, So,
yeah, totally. So if you're looking for real people giving real solutions, this is it, guys.
Welcome.
Let's do this thing.
Awesome. What are we talking about today, Derek?
So Hannah and I have both had a lot of new things in the last, I would say, year, maybe 8 months to a year. A lot of big changes in jobs and responsibilities in jobs and all sorts of stuff. And we realized that a lot of these changes were very intimidating. A lot of big moves up in our industries, a lot of expansion of what we're doing, and kind of scary sometimes. Very, like I said, it was intimidating. And we realized that, everybody goes through this. Even if it's not huge changes in your job, there's always something out there that you're trying to do and it scares you. So today we wanted to talk about fear and hesitation a little bit and talk about what do we do ourselves? What do Hannah and I do to overcome that fear and that intimidation to just move forward, get the things done, be successful in our respective experiences. So we're excited to share a little bit, guys, because we think everybody goes through this. Yeah. Did you want to add anything?
No, I'm excited to hear about your fears. Are you talking about spiders today or?
Spiders. I hate spiders. I hate creepy crawlies.
I can't believe it.
It's so weird. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing.
See, and I don't like flying things. I don't like mosquitoes or flies.
Those are more annoying to me than frightening. They just bother.
Yeah. Earwigs are my biggest creepy crawly fear.
Because you're worried it's going to
have babies in my ear. Absolutely. That's what I'm worried about. I remember learning that when I was 6 years old or something.
Do they really do that? Do they really go into your brain or whatever?
I don't know, but they look like they're equipped to. They're like this shiny little smooth body with the little pincers on the back. I don't know what they would need that for if it's not to come out of your brain in one way or another.
Listeners, let us know. If
you are a bug person.
Is it an entomologist?
I don't even know.
I think that's a bug person. Let us know what earwigs actually do, if they actually do burrow into your brain, because that sounds terrible.
And then we'll just completely remake a whole new episode on earwigs and how gross they are.
No, let's move on from that.
Kidding.
That's gross.
Okay, yeah.
So, Hannah.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot. What's one of your, let's start general. What's some of your biggest fears in life? Besides bugs and those kinds of things.
Oh, those aren't even fears though.
Okay.
I would say I don't live a very fear-based life.
That's good.
But my biggest fears, I think, are just associated with that of someone who has strong relationships. So mine is anything bad happening to my family or loss. I've never really had anyone die close to me. So I'm very fearful of when people start dying around me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't fear death itself, like for me, but like for me handling it when other people die, I think I'm just going to lose it. And that's kind of what I'm fearful of, is like life after the people I love, if they die, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
A huge thing that makes me fearful are sinkholes. Just because it's not like a natural disaster that you could plan for. You could literally just fall to the middle of the earth and have no idea. It could just be a Monday at 2:30 and
oh my gosh.
now you're falling for years.
I don't live a fear-based life, but when I do, I'm worried about giant holes in the earth ripping open in front of me on the freeway and sending me to. So I'm just going to fall for years until I start. I'm going to starve to death before I actually hit the bottom. That's what you're worried about.
I'm saying I don't live a fear-based life, but that doesn't mean I don't have anxiety.
Do you think about that while you drive? Like you're just going down
when I'm
Main
like
Street
stopped,
or something,
when
and you're
I'm
like,
stopped.
What if a hole just opened up right now?
Yeah. Or like if I'm on an overpass for too long, I'm like, okay, like
what?
There's that time, like a couple, like within the last year, that I heard about the couple that they were newlyweds, very close to our situation. They were living in a 3rd floor apartment like us.
Don't.
What
happened?
No, their building caught on fire and they couldn't go down the stairs, so they had to jump, and she broke every bone in her body.
Oh my gosh.
And he tried to catch her or something. Like, it's far.
I know, but people fall from planes because their chute's done open and.
Okay, she didn't break every bone in her body, but major joints. Like I think she broke her knees. Like
that makes sense. She probably tried to land on her feet or something.
Yeah, like she probably isn't a Marine and didn't learn to land correctly.
Tuck and roll.
Yeah. But so that after I heard about that, I added, I think, 2 different lengths of emergency ladders to our Amazon cart.
I remember that. And seeing those and thinking, what?
Well, because I was like, you and I could jump and maybe be fine. But like, what about Chesty, our 60-pound lard of dog?
And carry him down on the rope.
Have you tried to put him in a bag or carry him?
It's just going to have to happen.
No, but that's what I'm saying, is that's why we needed the ladders to help him.
Yeah.
So yeah, my fear is associated with like the unknown, I guess. And not being able to help the people I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
We've talked about it a little bit. Was it last episode? But
I don't know, but tell me more.
I deal with performance anxiety. So I've actually been diagnosed by a, what would you call them? Psychologist. I know one can prescribe drugs, one can't. But I've had 2 different people tell me I have performance anxiety. So, yeah, I think that plays into a fear of failure and letting myself down and others down. And like, it has kind of turned into a little bit of I know what I'm capable of and not meeting that, and a fear of competing against others and stuff like that. But no, I've learned over the couple of years to take that anxious energy, because it feels like a twister inside of me. That's just like, like a storm inside my chest.
A twister?
Yeah. Like it's just like
tornado?
Like boiling water. It's just like this energy that's just like rolling over itself with no real direction. I've learned to like kind of give it a channel or a direction where I say, okay, you're so anxious about this. Well, here's this thing that you could do about it.
Yeah.
And put the anxious energy into that. But it was hard though, because at first when I started doing that, I would do the action, but along the way I'd be fighting a panic attack the whole time because I was letting the chaotic energy out. But it was hard to let it out in the right amount. And
little spurts. And
right. I had to like learn how to faucet. Before it was just like on or off, all or nothing. And I've had to learn how to kind of like, okay, let some out and enjoy the pressure releasing a little bit. And now you got to stop because it's too much or something. But no, so it's been cool. But yeah, I think some of my experiences though, along with that more recently, well, not super recent, but like when I got my Series 7, my licenses to be a broker, taking those tests. So if anyone doesn't know, they're like the Series 7 just by itself, it's like a 3-hour test, hundreds of questions. And yeah, it's the big one. Like if you want to deal with like the stock market and stuff at all, like that's your base level big mama that you got to knock out first. And some people say it's easy. Like looking back, it's one of those things I can say like, oh yeah, that was easy. I just studied and I did it. I was like, no, but at the same time though, like I studied for like 2 or 3 months 8 hours a day, like at work, I was studying, and then, and then you go take this 3-hour test. But I remember, so how I dealt with that though, because I remember you're not scared until the moment to perform, right? Or at least for me. So like the 3 months leading up to it, it's fine. I'm enjoying just going to work and studying and, doing my thing. And that's great. It's kind of like going to practice. If you're in sports, it's like, you're not nervous about the big game when you're at practice. You're thinking about it, and you might be, like on your mind, like, okay, I'm planning for this, I'm expecting it, but it's not until the actual day of the big game that you're like, whoa, like it's happening, I'm anxious. So that's how it was with the test. And I remember totally being like, I'm fine, it's going to be great. Cause I'm very good at being like chill before the moment, but then I get there and it's like, okay, holy cow, this is actually happening. So I remember showing up to it was at the University of Utah testing center. I had to go up there because it's like super proctored. Like they like pat you down, turn all your pockets inside out. You have to pull up your pant legs and roll down your socks. No, I couldn't wear my glasses in, or like I could, but they had to inspect them first. No hats, obviously, no bulky clothing whatsoever. It's like no jackets. If you're wearing a hoodie, nope, you got to take your hoodie off and you have a shirt on underneath, then sorry, better go get a shirt and come back. But your time's running. Like the clock has started at your start time.
Wow.
So yeah, very, very intense. Like, not even like a normal watch. Like if it's not a smartwatch, they don't care. Like no watches, no jewelry, no nothing. Like you go in practically naked. So, but I remember going in and they kind of make everyone wait outside the door, and they call you in one at a time to do the pat down and the strip and all that. And I remember when I was waiting, my last name starts with an S. So it's kind of at the bottom of the list. You know how when you play hide and seek as a kid and you're like, I'm fine. And you start the game and you finally find your hiding spot and then you have to pee.
Yes.
It was like that. I was like, oh, the person right in front of me goes, and I know I'm next. And I'm like, oh.
Or when you start a podcast and you're like, oh crap, I need to pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already did our potty breaks, so we're good. But so I remember I'm waiting outside to go in to take the test, and I had to pee. So I run down the hall quick, do my business, and I'm washing my hands, and I'm like looking at myself in the mirror. And at this point, I was pretty well into like the self-help stuff, motivational stuff, so it wasn't so weird what I did next to me. I mean, other people like, that's so corny, but the deal is that I looked in the mirror and I actually like out loud looked in the mirror and started talking to myself, because I had to remind myself that I knew, because I was so nervous about what if I don't remember how municipal bonds work, because there's so much information and you don't know what's going to be on the test. It could be heavy in different areas. They tell you like, generally you have 40 of these questions,
but it's like a cumulative test.
Yeah. So it's everything. Like you are, and they've changed it now. I took the last test of the Series 7 before they changed it. Now it's split into 2 parts because they're saying it was too hard and they want more people to get into the industry.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I took the very last round of tests that were actually the old school Series 7, where it was the full 3-hour test. Now it's like an hour and a half and an hour and a half or something like that. But anyway, so I'm in the bathroom and I'm looking myself in the mirror, and I'm like telling myself, I'm like, okay, you know this, you got this. And it was kind of hard because it's not like I don't do this all the time, and I hadn't, but I've always heard people talk about it, like you need to tell yourself and convince yourself. And it was one of those things where it's like, I have to pass this test. Like, this is my dream. I had just come from doing construction, right? And it'd always been my dream to work in the financial industry. And so this meant everything to me. Basically, it was like, if I don't pass this, like I don't get my dreams don't come true. So to me, it was okay, get over the fact that it's cheesy and corny and you feel like you're in a movie or something. Or like you're going to like pretend, you know what I mean? Like, but that was the thing though. So yeah, I just looked in the mirror and just, you got this. You just spent 3 months studying every day for 8 hours. Like if you can't do it now, then that's it. So go out, do it. You're awesome. And just gave myself like a little pep talk. And I even did the oldest thing in the book where I like made myself smile. I didn't feel like smiling. I felt like throwing up, but just made myself smile. But it changed my whole mindset going into the test. Cause instead of going into the test, like, oh my gosh, I have to like fight this battle. It was cool. Like, let's do this. Like, this is my moment to like make my dreams come true and get out of this industry that I've wanted to get out of for years and into the one I want to get into for years. And yeah. So for me, like that was huge for me to completely basically remove myself from the situation, right? Go to the bathroom and just, I like splashed water on my face even. Like I just did everything to hit a pause, hit a reset button. And then I decided, okay, what is my mentality going into this situation? So splash water on my face, quiet, I'm all alone. And it's just, I am good. I am smart. I got this. I listed all the reasons why I should pass this. And I listed all the reasons like why I shouldn't be nervous. And then yeah, decide, okay, I'm going to just go and be relaxed because I know I've always been a good test taker. And even if I'm not a good test taker, part of studying was taking tests every day. So at least I'm a good this test taker because on those tests I got good scores. So I think that would be my first real world answer to how you can address fear and anxiety is remove yourself from the situation if you can and hit a reset button physically and mentally and completely change your perspective from one of a defensive to an offensive instead of being I'm running from this situation or I'm a victim of this situation. I have to I'm going through the test, but I'm passing the test. The test isn't doing anything to me. I'm taking action on the test. I'm in control. I decide what happens. So yeah, that was probably one of my bigger ones, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, no, and not to make light of your story at all, but like, I totally understand what you mean by taking a step back and pressing the reset button. As dumb as it sounds, and I think I've said it before in the podcast that I'm a huge napper and I'm a really big advocate of napping.
Yeah.
And I don't know what mammal, like I'm human, obviously, but
sloth.
Like I might be partially koala or something because or I don't know what other animal falls asleep when they need, like there's
like
so
a defense
much
mechanism.
Almost. Like I remember when I was living in China and I was dealing with like the culture shock when I first got there. I wanted to take like 4-hour naps every day. I didn't most days, but some days I did and I really needed to. But while yours was a really productive and meaningful form of reset, there are other ways that might work for people too. If Derek's way, like Derek's is that way is amazing though. So,
but I agree with you though. I think everyone's going to have a different way. Like other people could do that and it does nothing for them. I'm going to go look in the mirror and tell myself and, oh, you got this. And like, but if that's just not how they operate, they're going to be like, this is so stupid, like, well, I think that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to speak on like that you have self-confidence, like already. Mm-hmm. And so you telling yourself that you can do something isn't cheesy. Like you actually believe it when you say that.
Yes. That's a huge part of it.
If you don't have self-confidence or like self-integrity, that you don't even believe that you keep the promises that you make to yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're going to stand there in front of the mirror and tell yourself you can do this and you got this, like you aren't going to believe it. Like, and why should you if you've never kept a promise to yourself?
Well, doing that, everything we just talked about, it actually stems from the performance anxiety thing because part of coping mechanisms I learned from them was just listing all the reasons I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like when I feel a panic attack coming on, and I haven't had one for a long time, thankfully, because I've learned how to control it. But part of those coping mechanisms I worked on with the different counselors was, well, okay, like you're a logical guy and we all have a logical part of it. So just tell yourself why it's okay. Tell yourself why it's not a big deal. Tell yourself, all the reasons why life goes on. And it's interesting because dealing with anxiety like that at such a high level where it's almost a clinical level, it's really helped me be able to cope with everyday stresses as well, because I can sit and so quickly just be like, oh, well, this is why this shouldn't bother me right now. And of course I'm human. So sometimes, yes, I still get stressed and upset and, lose patience with things. But I think learning to manipulate my mindset to back off the cliff, also it now is branching into changing my mindset to climb the mountain, kind of a thing. But I think just being able to control your perspective is such a huge thing, and you deciding what your mind is going to be, what state you're going to be in.
Yeah, I think mind mapping and affirmations are huge. On shaping your fear and and having it be not that you like know how to work, like you manipulate it so it's not there anymore. Like you don't say like you have recovered from your performance anxiety. Like you still have it. You just know how to cope and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So mind mapping, daily affirmations, you know, self pump up talk, like that's huge. And that, yeah, if you believe it and you believe the words you say, like if you don't break promises to other people and yourself, like you have that integrity, there's no reason that shouldn't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So give it a try.
Definitely. What about you? What are some moments or experiences you've had with, I guess, going into something and having that fear? I feel like, you know, I could think of times where you might have, but I'm not you. So I don't know how you actually felt.
I mean, it's almost like thinking of, you know, when you play a game of like, what was your most embarrassing moment? Like, I don't really get embarrassed all that often. So it's like, I can't really think of one. No, but I mean, a time that I was very, I was scared. I was worried to disappoint people around me. And I was anxious about the results. I wasn't necessarily fearful. Like it wasn't keeping me up at night. Was when I launched my program and rebranded my website and did all that. It was very huge. It just happened, I mean, within the last 6 months, but it was really challenging just because I felt like here my Instagram has been around for, you know, a little bit longer. And all the like inadequacies I was feeling with like the amount of followers I had, but being told it's okay. It's not about followers. It's about engagement. I hate feeling like I'm being coddled and that just only makes me feel worse about it in a way.
It's almost like you don't want the pity because then there means there's something about you to have pity for.
Exactly.
I get it.
So it was very scary to spend this money and all this time and late nights. And I mean, from last February, so February of 2018 to about October of 2018, I was working, you know, an extra in addition to all my other jobs, about like 2 to 8 extra hours working on my habits program, getting it ready to launch. And with that, working on website stuff with my awesome web designer team. Shout out to Think Make Design and Spring Break Jake. Look them up. They are amazing. I love them so much. But so it was just scary being present on social media, being present on a website, you know, trying this whole blogger thing out. And then almost coming back and saying like, hey, I didn't feel good about how I've been doing it for the last 3 years. I'm going to redo it. And I hope you guys still support me or that you guys are just excited about this as I am, because it's a huge step forward. And I felt like I was finally representing myself right. You know, that like the site is as fun as I am. The program is what I've wanted to put out there, you know, that it's not just all about getting your best body ever, but it's also doing the inner work too, you know, and just creating that daily habit of working out. And then harder things become easier once you get that habit, you know, that type of thing. So it was just scary putting what I felt like was my like heart and soul and so many emotions, so many long hours into something that could totally flop. You know, just the potential of it, you know, not getting traction with sales, not even sales, but like just having the one person who buys it or downloads it. What if they don't even like it? You know, like, because for me, like, yeah, the sales are great because, you know, it's my business.
You're running a business. Yeah.
Right. So if I were to say, the money doesn't matter to me, like I'd be lying and I wouldn't be transparent with you. But at the same time, it's not my number one priority. It's just because I'm running a business.
Well, yeah, it's just quick. I think it's the money's not why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
But you couldn't do what you're doing without the money. So you need it to accomplish your mission.
Yeah, I couldn't keep doing what I'm doing without supplying myself with, you know,
the money pays for giveaways. The money pays for meetups. The money pays for you to be able to go and reach out to people.
Yeah. And to keep working
it's not to
on
buy
my
you a new
site.
car. Like,
Not to buy me a new car, not to buy me followers, all these things.
right.
Anyways, but yeah, so I was just worried about that one person downloading it. And there were a couple of people I had in mind that have been longtime followers from all over the world. And they have been so supportive of me, and they've asked me to do like online coaching for them in the past. And that's just not my thing. So I knew this was something that people were wanting as I was making it. So that just kind of made me even more nervous about it, is that it's like, I hope this meets people's expectations, because here I've been telling them like something is coming, just wait, So yeah, that was probably my biggest and most recent fear that I've worked through, is just the fear of disappointing and the fear of not measuring up. And I like to say I'm a recovering perfectionist. So like really working on recovery here, but yeah, so I pushed through it, and I mean, I don't really have any solution or like this, monumental thing that I did to keep going. It was a lot of support from you. Like, you were super supportive. But for me, I just had to do it. I just had to finish it and put it out there, and just kind of have that self-comfort of whatever happens, happens. And this isn't the end all be all, and it wasn't meant to be that anyways. So I don't need to treat it that way and have those expectations on it. Habits isn't the reason, like habits isn't what I want to have on my tombstone, when it's,
yeah.
Is tombstone a thing?
Yeah.
Headstone. I don't think I'll have a tomb. I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm not J-Lo.
Yes, my 3-story tomb. Why do you need 3 stories?
Her booty.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, no, but so like, I don't want it to be like Hannah, the founder of the Habits program. Like, that's great. Like, if it catches on and the world finds out about it, that's wonderful.
Because it's helping people.
Because it's helping people.
It'll help people make those habits.
Exactly. What habits?
Weird.
But it's not my end all be all. It is not like, I didn't come this far to only come this far. And I know I'd be cheating myself. I'd be cheating the people that I want to help and influence and inspire if I did just stop there.
Would you say, so from what I'm hearing, would you say that almost it was the, because like you said, you just kept pushing forward, going forward. I needed to get this done. I just needed to do it. Whatever happened, but I needed to do it. Would you say it was because of coming from a mentality of, I've always wanted to do this, and if I don't do it, how I'll feel from not doing it is worse than if I do it and everyone hates it?
Yeah.
See, it's kind of like that. It's
totally
almost, this is terrifying. And if everyone hates it, that'll be horrible. But if I never even try.
Yeah, no. And to be completely transparent, like, I feel like I've had a lot of those moments in my life where I've let the fear of failing just stop me completely from finishing, or putting in my 100%. Because I know if I would put my 100% into the things that I struggle with, or the things I'm insecure about, I would rock it. But some part of me that just like is really insecure just worries that it won't. And so in growing up and in previous years, like, I would just choose not to continue going. And habits was one of those things that I wanted it to be a story of like this empowerment and this amazing, like, for me, it was a self journey too. So while it's for everyone else who chooses to purchase it and use it and download it, but it was also for me. Like, if no one downloads it, which people have, so thank you for purchasing and for being awesome. But like, for me, it was just an accomplishment for finishing something and seeing it to fruition and making a really beautiful, helpful program. And with like, had I not, I would definitely, like, to answer your question, had I not done that and just pushed through, I would definitely, I know I would be stunted in the future.
Yeah.
On putting anything else out there.
Well, and I know you did put 100% into it. Like, being the husband of the Hannah.
Yes.
I I was watching every day is, Hannah is spending just hours and hours and hours building something from scratch. I think that's what was amazing to me about you doing this. And I think that's what you're driving at with just that putting your 100% in, is that you didn't, like, it is 100% you. You didn't go download a template. You didn't just fill in blanks on anything. You didn't take, okay, well, I'm going to build you didn't, and it wasn't even like, literally, I want to make sure, like, people have to know this. And I know it kind of bugs you when I say it to people because you don't think it's a big deal, but I think it's a huge deal, is that like 100% of your program is original. You didn't, well, I made the pretty template and I took these workouts and put them in, or vice versa. No, it's, you literally took a blank Word document. You made custom icons. You made custom headers, footers, fonts, colors. Like, you were typing in color codes and saving color palettes. Like, all the graphs and the charts and the lists and the visuals and the grids and the, you know what I mean? And just everything is from scratch. And I think that's what it boils down to with you saying, like, okay, if I put 100% in, because I think why it gets so scary for us when we do 100% of something of ourselves is that, if we give 90 or 80% or whatever, we get an excuse for when we fail. We get to say, oh, well, I didn't try my hardest. So, whatever. I tried 80%. I got 50% result. That's okay. That's an acceptable margin. No, because that's why it's so scary for 100%. Because you're saying, well, I gave 100% of me. And what if me at 100% of everything still isn't good enough? Because we all deal with, what if I'm not good enough? Everybody has that question. So to say, I did 100% of my heart and soul, and if it's not good enough, like that, I think that's people's biggest fear in life.
Yeah.
So I get it. So that's cool though. I mean, I'm so proud of you for doing it.
I'm really proud of me too.
It's impressive.
It was a really hard thing and late hours. And I mean, Derek isn't kidding when he says like it is completely original. Like I don't know how to do anything fancy on the computer or graphic wise. So I made this ebook on pages. Like every little graphic I had to figure out how to make from pages. Like I did not use Photoshop, beautiful like editor, whatever, blah,
You're
blah,
not
blah.
Like an Illustrator wizard or anything like that. And you didn't just go buy a pack. You're not like Icon Pack, $3.
No, like Spring Break Jake did my logos, which he did my whole branding. And Rosalind Smithers did my photography. But then I did every box, everything within the pages that just makes the logos and the pictures look even more beautiful, and that they add to such value to the program from total scratch. And I mean, it was such a feat. Like I felt like I conquered something.
I think you did, because the thought I just had was that, for people listening, if you're thinking, okay, great, like Hannah did this thing, that's great. She pushed through, that's great. Guys, like, I just want everyone to know, like, habits isn't some like super high selling thing for Hannah. Like, people do buy it. It's great, but it's not some like flying off the shelves, making millions of dollars. But what came from it is now Hannah, like later, so after Habits is launched and done and has been out for months, right? And like we said, like, people are buying it, but it's not some crazy thing. It's not like, Hannah launched a program and now she retired. But
if only, just kidding.
Her circles, her different circles and her different influences, people she knows, they know that she made Habits. They've seen it. They've looked at it. They've touched it. They know what it's about, and they've seen the quality she puts out. And then it was after Habits and after months of her being like, is Habits good? Like, I've launched it. What do you guys think? Months of that. That was when she got invited. Hey, we want to invite you to be the director and like creator of our yoga program at Rebel House. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And whether those two are correlated or not.
But I think they are though, because people see that you have experience, and there's more where I was driving. And now you are being invited to create other programs, and I'm not going to get specific because I don't want to, let word out on anything, but Hannah's being invited to now create other programs from scratch, saying, hey, Hannah, we like what you've done in the past. We like your experience. Make something for us, so Habits in and of itself may not have been her Launchpad key to success. This is what Hannah made her money off of. But it's an experience of where she put in almost a year's worth of time and a year's worth. Like, that's the thing. I think for that February to October-ish time, you were worried and anxious and fearful. It wasn't like it was kind of the opposite of my situation where I was scared at the moment of the test. You were scared the entire time of, what if I am wasting my time?
Oh, I feel like, I could have potentially wasted a year, and like the fights that we had, like, and it's just like, because I don't manage my stress well and like all these things. And like, I actually beta tested the habits program. I asked 6 amazing women in my life who come from all different walks of life, all different body types. Some are moms, some were college students, some just graduated high school, some were business owners, like some worked 18-hour days, like absolutely insane. But I feel like a lot of people were represented in those 6 women.
Yeah, it was a great group.
They beta tested for 12 weeks. They tested the programs. They gave me feedback on a weekly basis. And so I was fearful that I was wasting their time and that I was going to let them down, because here they were like on the foundational points of habits and starting it from the ground up with me.
Right.
And like, they did it just out of the goodness of saying yes to it. Like, I didn't promise them anything because I couldn't. I don't know what I could have promised them. I just knew that if I did this right, that they would be able to, at the end of their 12 weeks, they should have an established habit of working out daily. That was my idea. And that's the only thing I could have really promised them. But so I can't remember what I was going with that, but.
No, I think just that you almost had to open yourself up to the fear before the launch pad, before the click publish or whatever. Like, you had fear all along the way. And then even almost a pre-launch phase of the 12 weeks of, at any point in time, they could have come back to you and been like, Hannah, I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't like it. I'm sorry, but they didn't. Right. But you still had to go through that of every week of going and getting feedback of, what if this is the week that someone says quit. This sucks? Yeah. Like, true. You never know.
And I even gave them out. So I was like, look, you guys, like, I'm still working on this. Like, I'm still
it was a growing process. You changed a lot of the program, you did a lot of tweaks and a lot of, and I'll say this about Hannah's workouts. I've done them before. They're a slay fest.
Don't say that. Everyone can do them.
They're hard. They're challenging, but I'm just saying that, like, they're good workouts. So I think you had to do some, like you said, you had like fresh, like new mommies, and you had, in shape athletic college students. And so you had to be able to cater to both.
Like anywhere from, I think it was 17 to 48 was my range.
Crazy. Well, that's cool though.
Yeah. But super amazing, super awesome opportunity. And I just had to push through, and like, I'm still kind of pushing through that fear a little bit. Like, just because it launched doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
But I feel better that it's just out there, and I at least feel like there is some completion and some resolution that it's like, I finished something. That's okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any other fear moments?
There's at least one more that I really wanted to get into. Please. Because it exemplifies a time when I had like high hopes, great anxiety, and I failed, and it didn't work out. It wasn't all, and I went in and I killed it. So before I started working at where I'm at now, when I was getting out of construction and getting into finance, I interviewed at a very well-known,
and I'd say like boutique-y.
Yeah, it's a high performing, well-known boutique-y, like, very specialized, like these people know what they're doing firm, right? And they're great, and there's no hard feelings or anything like that. But but it was very intimidating, like these guys are like, when you think like Wall Street investors, so like this is them, they know what they're doing, and they make people millions of dollars. So I was able, through some people, knowing people and things like that, I was able to somehow get an interview for an internship, like the very base low, like, you're going to punch numbers all day for us, and we'll see if you're maybe worth a second interview type thing. So, but I was super pumped and excited, right? And I did everything. I was like A game. Like, every time I had to interact with these guys, I was pulling out all the stops on, okay, like, Derek's not a very like a personal, like it's hard for me to meet new people. I very much have to work on turning it on a little bit.
Derek's not a small talker. So he's not just going to sit there and talk about the weather to you. Like there's nothing more that he hates.
Yeah.
There's maybe a couple more things, but he like having a small talk and like showing up and being at think about when you first walk into a party or like an open house and you're like, who do I talk to and what do I say?
Yeah.
Like that's the interaction that you absolutely hate.
Mm-hmm.
But like sitting across from someone at dinner, where you can actually like get into things.
Yeah, I want to have a real conversation. I want to like hear your real thoughts.
It was really hard to date
opinions.
You at the beginning that you always wanted to have like conversations. And I'm like
heavy conversations. Like,
yeah.
So what's the hardest thing for you to do in life? It's just like
having this conversation.
Yeah, right. Exactly though. So anyway, so I really had to just it's kind of the edge of my abilities when I started, I did the whole thing, went to lunch with guys and got the ball rolling and did whatever. So eventually I get to the point of this interview, right? And we bought me a new tie, I think, even, like got me a new tie and I'm feeling fresh. Like we did everything so that I could go in there and feel my best.
I swear we got you a new suit.
Did we? I don't know which one it would be. I don't think so.
I swear we did, but
I think we were going to, but it was.
Oh no!
We were like, let's wait till after.
Yeah,
because if you get the job, then let's get you a sweet new suit. But if not,
let's
it's kind of
a tie right now.
Yes. So
struggling newlyweds.
Yeah.
Let's just.
Yeah. Well, yeah, finance, right? You can't just go blow all your money just because you think.
Just because you think.
Just because you think something might maybe happen. Like,
right.
Anyways, so yes, we pulled out all the stops. Got me a new tie. Hannah made sure my hair was did. You
got a haircut, fresh haircut.
Yeah, like everything, guys. Yeah. Like I was really. And I was banking on this because this was my first interview of making the decision of like, okay, like I need to move on. I've done everything I can here in construction and whatnot. It was great, but I need to move on. And this was the first time. So a lot of high hopes going on. And I liked the guys and I liked what they were doing. So I have my first round of interviews and I was feeling pretty good about it, right? There was anxiety, but I had reasons like my normal, like logical, okay, tell yourself why it's okay is because I'd already met one guy that was in the room with me. He brought in another gentleman who kind of did a secondary, like, hey, this guy thinks you're good, but let me ask you some questions, kind of put you on the spot a little bit. And that was great. And that went okay. I was still very much in I'm going to be super, super blunt about things. And I kind of don't care what you think, which can be great in some situations, but I don't think it was for this situation, honestly. So it went well. It went okay. That interview went great. Fast forward. I don't want the story to drag on. So fast forward to the big interview, right? I go in again, and this time I'm interviewing with like the guy, like the owner, head guy of the whole firm, to interview with him and one other gentleman in the room. And I did all my normal stuff, made myself feel good. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I'm confident. Everything in my mind is going in my favor of why I should rock this. And I go through the interview, and in my mind, I think I still did rock it in my own Derek style. I was very confident. I went through, and it wasn't until about, I would say 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through that it kind of started to dawn on me that I wasn't impressing anybody. I wasn't performing as well as I thought I was and as well as I thought I was going to. There was a couple questions that I didn't really have down. There was a couple, explanations I needed to give of either myself or of things that I kind of botched through. So anyways, I didn't perform as well as I needed to. And the interview actually ended a little abruptly. I thought it was kind of trailing into one of those like, hey, we'll let you know kind of a things. And it ended with a call me in a year and let's see what you've done kind of a thing. And like he just straight up, like it wasn't a we'll call you. It was a we're not going to call you. This is the end of our relationship right now. We're not pursuing this anymore. And it was very blunt. And it kind of hit me hard, because I thought, man, I was so confident. I was so good. I had everything in my favor. And what happened? And I ended really well. I knew that if I was going to, okay, if I'm walking out of this room, like I am walking out knowing that I put everything on the table. So I had my one last kind of statement of just, you will not forget me kind of a thing. And that was great. And I'm very proud of that, but we don't need to get into that. But relating to that was just, I walked out, and it was just, I had failed. I hadn't done it. Like now what? I had felt the fear. I faced the fear. I did everything I needed to do, and it wasn't enough. I had given my 100% and it wasn't enough. And it was hard because it was like every step of leaving the building, like their lobby is right onto the elevator, so the guy that kind of got me through the interviews, and I knew he was my contact, he walked me to the elevator, said, hey man, thanks for everything. Sorry it didn't work out. Shook hands. Oh yeah, it's great. It's all good. Throw on the smile and hit the elevator button and like kind of turn my back to the doors and the reception, and you're just like, okay, just, you just have to get into the elevator. And so I made it in the elevator and I walk out, and it was just hard because I felt like the entire world of what I was trying to leave just came crashing back onto me, because I had just walked out of the financial world, right, where I was trying to be, and I was in my little suit and everything, right? And I walked out, and it was just to build the picture for you guys. Their building was kitty corner to another building that the construction company I was with at the time was renovating and working on. So and my truck was parked in between the two. Like there was a lot in between the two. So I was literally leaving my dreams behind me that I had just failed at attaining and walking towards my truck, towards the big, ugly building I hated going to every day. It was just hard. It was like I just got rejected and I was leaving what I wanted, and I was being forced back into what I tried so hard to leave. And I felt like a joke. I was sitting in my truck, it's a work truck. It's dirty, and I'm sitting in a suit. And I felt like, honestly, I was like looking in the mirror, and I just sat there. I didn't go anywhere. And I was just like, this is a joke. I'm a joke. Like all my fears came back onto me, and there was no like juice left in the tank to, no, you're great. Let's list all the reasons why you're great. Let's list all the reasons why it was just like, no, like there are no more reasons. I just put all the reasons out there and it wasn't enough. And so that was very, very hard to sit there and feel almost like, what am I even doing? Why did I even try? And at this time, I didn't have a backup plan. Like that was the plan. That was the golden ticket of, whoa, an opportunity came along. I have to go after this opportunity. And I did, and it didn't work. There was no, let's go apply at the next firm, because at the time, I didn't have any licenses. I didn't have any related degrees. All I had was personal experience of myself in finance and the stock market. And some people love that. A lot of people don't give a crap about it. It doesn't go very far. So yeah, it was very hard to go back to it. So how I dealt with that though was just, I did have to take kind of, I think, a day or two or the rest of the week or whatever to not mope, but just kind of accept and just take a breath, because it was so much of me putting myself out there and trying so hard and facing those fears that I needed to just take a breath to, okay, go back to what's familiar. I know this job. Let's just do it. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, knowing, and now we plan. Now I have to plan. Now I begin the hunt, because it felt so good to be so close. Although I failed, it's like hitting the home run, but the guy jumps and catches it just before it goes over the fence. You feel like it got stolen from you. So I had to turn that frustration and feeling rejected into fuel for, well, I'm going to do better next time. Or I was so close and that felt so good. I have to get back to that. I can't just give up, because if I give up, I'm going to be the way I am and where I'm at forever. So, I mean, yeah, that's an example of how facing the fear and going all out, it doesn't always come out in your favor, but you can't give up. You have to just, maybe take your minute to shake it off, but then you have to get right back into make a plan, execute the plan. And if that fails, make a new plan, execute the new plan, over and over and over. And I did that. And it's just crazy because where I'm at now, I am so happy. And I'm actually glad that it didn't work out at that firm that I got rejected by, because where I'm at now, I know it's where I'm supposed to be. So even though that initial rejection of my 100% and of me giving my all, even though that was there and I went through that, I didn't know at the time it was just for something bigger and better that would work out so much more and it'd make me so much happier. So you got to remember that when you face your fears, that even if you do fail, or even if the fear and anxiety gets the best of you, that there might be something more out there. And you could call it God, fate, karma, whatever you want to call it. But I believe that there's something, right?
Yeah. And I love, you touched on a lot of different points. And I mean, oh my gosh, when the boss man was telling you, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I was picturing because I got a speeding ticket recently. Mm-hmm. And you and I have had this conversation of why do we say thank you to officers after giving you a ticket?
Thanks, officer. I'll still tell them to be safe, but I don't say thank you anymore.
No, but it's when they say thank you, it's the automatic reply of when you're going into a movie and the person's like, have a good movie. And you're like, you too. And you're like, oh wait, you're pulling tickets.
Next time you see
one
movie.
But so I was just thinking how how awkward that must have been of just thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for this time. And just the vulnerability hangover you probably had after. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that term, but Brene Brown kind of coined it. And I love it. It's almost like where you do give your 100% and you push hard, you show yourself to whoever it is, and then it doesn't work out. And or it does work out, but still you feel that just this awful, weird feeling from being so vulnerable. And that's why she calls it a vulnerability hangover.
Yeah, it's like I said, I had to take a couple of days off and just go to work, do your thing that you know how to do and you're good at. Just go do that for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I needed to. It was like a turtle pulling its head back into the shell, right? It's like I just need to for a minute. One thing I wanted to say that I forgot to mention is that when I was in the truck after that rejection and I was trying not to cry.
That's okay.
I pulled out my phone and I went to a year from that day and put in call.
Because I remember getting the calendar
because he said call me in a year, and I was so upset, but I was so angry, and I'm a guy that's fueled by this that I was like, fine, mother effer, if you want me to call you in a year, I'm gonna call you in a year.
And show you what I've done.
And I'm going to, and seriously though, and now it's like, and I'm so glad that I did that though. I'm so glad that I had that attitude, because less than a year later, I have multiple licenses now. I've been through multiple promotions. I am so much further ahead than I would have been spending a year with you.
Yeah.
You were actually something that was going to hold me back. And it's funny because we're getting close to the time of needing to call him. And I've been debating if I actually should or not. And I almost think I shouldn't, because it wouldn't be hey, look, I'm good now. Will you like me now? I want to call him and be like,
Look what I've done.
Look what I've done. Look what you're missing out on. Look what you could have had and you can't have it now. It's like
it's like revenge, after a breakup.
Yes.
And it's
and you want to get all hot now?
The person's going to be at this, I don't know, this party or whatever. And it's like, I got to look good. So you know what you're missing out on.
Yes. It's so funny. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't call him, because I don't want to be rude. And I know the people that they know, you know what I mean? The connections are still intact.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cause fallout just because I need to have that moment of in your face.
Well, thank you for being the bigger person.
But I'm glad I did that. I'm glad that I put a timeline on, in a year, I need to be this much better.
Oh, and it's super cool that almost and not to take away your effort, but almost without even trying, you have grown into this amazing role and promotions and certifications. Yes, you've tried, you have put so many hours in, don't get me wrong, but it's this was such the better way for you to go. it was the course. So it happened naturally. Yes, there has been hardships and hard times and frustrating calls, but like, dude, like you're where you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Let's see. I'm like tired after talking about that.
Are you having a vulnerability hangover right now?
A little bit. Let me just deep breath. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
Mental break there.
Yeah. It's always good to take a big deep breath. Let's all do that together. Big inhale. Big exhale.
Is that too fast?
Yeah.
That's why I'm not good at yoga.
That's okay.
Anyways, so it's hard to like wrap up because we've talked about so many different things.
I mean, fear is a real thing. Every day we wake up, we might feel fear. Every day we fall asleep, we might feel fear. But at the same time, it's what you do. Like what we've talked about in the past, in many different situations, it's what you do about that fear that really sets you apart from feeling the fear. Everyone is going to be fearful of something. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to feel anxious. Everyone's going to have panic attacks. Everyone's going to be worried about something. Just because you're worried doesn't mean you're not prepared. It doesn't mean you are not a right fit. It doesn't mean you are, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything.
It means you're human.
Exactly.
It means you're doing something.
Spoiler alert. Oh my gosh. If you didn't know you were human and
you heard it first here on Wellthy Podcast. Well, what I wanted to say was just that I think Jesty, no, your turn's coming up. Is just that. Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
She's threatening me. She's holding up like knives and stuff.
No, I was just saying that fear is part of the process.
Oh, yes.
And, remember before you interrupted me?
Oh, my word.
Oh, my word. I'm trying to get those out.
Say it.
No, but fear is part of the process. Just because you're feeling something, you are, feeling unevenly matched of what you're up against. That's not the case. Like if people listen to what fear was trying to get in the way of, there would be no basketball. There would be no light bulbs. There would be no Post-it notes. There would be no wiener dogs. Like,
what are they afraid of? What are we about to create? I don't know. This could destroy the world. And it's a wiener dog.
No, that's when they made gas station pump nacho cheese. That's when they were thinking about destroying the world.
We know someone who loves that kind of nacho cheese.
Shout out to my mom. No, I love her and I love her love for nacho cheese. But no, so back to reality, back to the gist of it. Just because you're feeling this fear doesn't mean you shouldn't go for it. It means you need to assess and choose what type of person you're going to be as you meet that fear, as you face that fear, as you push through it. Are you going to meet it head on? Are you going to have to be a little bit more strategic about it? Are you just going to have to roll through it and have maybe that vulnerability hangover, or just kind of wait and see how it goes? There's no wrong way to handle it. I just encourage you and challenge you to make sure it's authentic to you and to make sure that you are putting your best self out there as you do that. Don't make fear or stress or anything make you into a person you're not. And that's speaking from personal experience. Like, I don't like the person that I am when I'm stressed, and I'm working on that. But it doesn't have to be this awful thing. It doesn't have to be this thing that we tiptoe around and don't talk about. It can be something that we're proud of pushing through and working through. And Derek, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, we all know that it's the first step that's the hardest, and then it's easy. So jumping off the high dive, going on the first ride of the roller coaster, all that jazz. I don't want to beat the dead horse because we all know that. So just remind yourself of that once I get started, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's so
that's
true.
It. Just stop thinking of I'm scared of because this entire giant thing. Just think I'm just scared to start. So I just need to start. I just got to do it. I just got to go. That's one thing that has helped me with my anxiety so much is when I do have to compete, in the military or at work and stuff like that, when we have to do tests, I need to go first. I have to go first. I need to be in line because I just need to go and do it. I can't sit and wait and watch because it just makes things 100% worse. So if you are on the high dive of life about to, maybe I want to launch a business, or I want to start this new thing, or I want to get healthy, or whatever it is, well, just take the first step and go do the first thing.
It's like,
don't worry about the next 100 things that may or may not come after it. Just go do the one. And then if you do the one right, then do the next one. And that's it.
It's like that really popular saying of like day one or one day, it's like, if you keep avoiding it, it's going to be there, or it'll just change in what capacity it shows up in. Like, you got to just handle it.
Yep.
You got to push through it. You got to do it again in a way that works for you, but like, you just got to do it.
Totally.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing, Derek, and for being so open and vulnerable.
Well, you too.
I mean,
mine were just like moments though. Yours was cool because it was the whole like a year's worth of.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever.
We're all good. We both did awesome. Good job.
Good.
Us.
High five.
High five to us. Touch my hand.
That was a great high five. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Again, this was Wellthy, a podcast to give you the power to live well and wealthy. I am one of your co-hosts, Hannah, signing off.
And this is Derek, guys. You can find us anywhere on social media, just at Wellthy Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. If you want to find me personally, it's just at Derek Spawn. Same everywhere. What about you, Hannah?
Health by Hannah, and that will connect you to all my places. And please, if you guys are feeling a little bit of fear and maybe a situation that you need Derek to pep talk you,
I'll yell at you.
A pep talk. If you need him to pep talk you, definitely reach out and let him know you don't want him to yell at you if that's what you need. But we're here for you. We do this podcast for you. We don't do it for money. We don't do it for products. We don't do it for review. We're here to educate you and just give you real life scenarios to real life problems dealing with health and wealth. So just let us be your buddies. And please do us a favor and rate, review, and subscribe. Tell a friend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.